This program is sponsored by Zad Group.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, broadcasted to you live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Bint Farouk sent us an email saying that I want to ask if a woman took ghusl Thursday night without intention of Jum'ah, so the next day, can she go to the mosque and perform Jum'ah prayer? Bint Farouk's question has a number of issues. The first issue, is it obligatory upon a woman to attend the Friday sermon, the Friday prayer, Salatul Jumu'ah? And the answer to that is no, it's not mandatory. Is it recommended? The answer is no, it's not recommended. The Prophet ﷺ exempted a number of people from attending Friday khutbah, and among them was the women. So it is best for them to pray at home. But if she has this urge to go and listen to the khutbah and attend the prayer, this is totally permissible, no problem. The second issue is regarding the ghusl of Jum'ah, which is the total bath a person takes before Jum'ah. And it's an issue of dispute among scholars. For men, they differ. Some say it's mandatory, some say it is recommended. And some say it is mandatory in cases and recommended in the rest. And Allah knows best, this is the most authentic opinion, that it is recommended in most cases, but it becomes mandatory and obligatory when a person has an odor, as in the hadith of Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, and with his father, that the people of Medina were people of farming, of cultivating the land, and they were laborers. So they had only one garment, and usually it was made of wool, and they had the whole garment for a full week. So when it was time for Salat al-Jumu'ah, they used to go to the masjid, and they had an odor to it, and it smelled badly. So each one of them was not at ease with the smell of his brother, let alone with the smell of himself. So the Prophet obliged upon them that it is mandatory and it's a right upon each one of you to touch his body with water once a week. But then when things got better, alhamdulillah, and the reason, which is the odor, has gone, then the ruling differed, and it is recommended to perform ghusl, but it's not mandatory. And the third and last issue is, when is it to be performed? The majority of scholars say that it should be performed after the Fajr of Jum'ah. Doing it Friday night, to those who say it's an obligation, they say it was not done on the day of Friday. And alhamdulillah, as we have stated earlier, that it is highly recommended and not mandatory. In this case, if you do it Thursday night, in this case, inshallah, this would do the job. Abdul Nasser from Libya.
Sheikh, salaam alaikum.
Salamullah wa barakatuh.
Abdul Nasser, I'm calling from Libya. I have 3 questions.
Last week it was 2, now it's 3, mashallah.
Yes, Sheikh, thank you very much. And
Yes, Akhi.
my first question, if you have a son, and your son, his age is not the age of poverty, And can he lead prayers? Maybe can he lead his mother and sisters prayers like Maghrib, Isha? He's a young age, maybe underage.
Okay.
What is the rule of that? My
Okay.
first question.
Okay.
And my second question, in Africa, especially in Ghana, we have one mosque. And during the Ramadan, a lot of youth, they are always running to that mosque because the imam, they give him a name express because he only use some ayah and pray tarawih like Fabi Allahu Akbar. So everybody is running to the mosque because the prayer is very express. So I want to know, can you recite only one ayah to pray for Jama'ah?
Okay.
That's my second question. And my third question is concerning Nana Fatima. She has a son called Muhsin. I heard that Nana Fatima, she has a son by the name Muhsin. Is true or not? Thank you, Sheikh. May
Okay.
Allah give you long life. Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. And I will answer you, inshallah. Abdul Nasser's first question was about if a child beyond the age of puberty, is he allowed to lead the prayer? Is he allowed to lead his mother, his sister in prayer? And the answer is, children beyond the age of puberty or below the age of puberty are divided into two types. And you have the first type is what is known as al-mumayyiz, a child that has the ability to understand the surroundings. He's not yet at the age of puberty, but he knows what's going on. So his decisions, in a sense, are a little bit sound and closer to the one who's an adult. So this is usually at the age of 8, 9. And the other type is غير المميز, is the one who is still a child. He's unable to make sound decisions. He may play in prayer. He may make takbir and then look around, or maybe go out and for a walk, etc. As for the mumayyiz, the person who, or the child who is able to distinguish things and to make sound decisions, his leading the prayer is permissible not only to his mother or leading his mother and sister, but even if he leads adults and grown-up. And this is based on the authentic hadith where Amr ibn Salama, may Allah be pleased with him, came as a child of 7 years of age, 6, 7 years of age, and he learned from the Quran ﷺ a lot of the, he learned the Quran from the Prophet ﷺ more than his tribesmen. So when they went back, they remembered that the Prophet said ﷺ that the one who memorizes most of the Quran should lead. And they found that he was the most among them in memorizing the Quran. So they made him their imam. And he was 6 or 7 years of age. So this is a clear indication and an evidence that it is permissible. Fatima from Gambia? Fatima? Sister Fatima from Gambia. I think we lost Sister Fatima. The second question of Brother Abdul Nasser is that they have an imam in Taraweeh, and he is nicknamed as Express Imam. And I've seen, as you have probably seen on YouTube, in Turkey, someone they call Ferrari Imam. And you find such people of ignorance who lead the people with such a fashion that is actually not a form of worship. And those who go for this reason, they're not actually worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. They're just brushing this prayer off their shoulders. May Allah Azza wa Jal give them guidance. So he's asking, is reciting one ayah of the Quran valid? And the answer is, we have the validity of the prayer And this is attained by fulfilling the pillars and obligations of the prayer and not doing anything that would invalidate the prayer. So as long as there is khushu' to the bare minimum, and you're being able to say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim once, or Subhana Rabbi al-A'la in sujood once, and you recite the Fatiha, and you recite one ayah afterwards, the prayer, as valid or invalid, it is valid. But is it recommended to pray behind such a person? Definitely not. It is way better for you and your heart and your iman, and to gain more reward at the sight of Allah if you pray home. Because praying it in congregation with such an imam, this goes against the meaning and the ethics of the prayer itself, and Allah knows best. Rahmatullah from Gambia.
Sorry?
Rahmatullah.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum wa barakatuh.
There's a question that I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Okay, whenever that I'm praying, sometimes when I'm praying, I will start the prayer, then after my mind will be on some stuff like, for example, when someone owes me money, I will think about that, and it normally disturbs me in my prayer. So I don't know when that happens, what should I do?
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, that is the question that I wanted to ask.
Okay, I will answer you. Amber from Saudi.
Sorry?
Amber from Saudi.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum.
Sheikh, I have 4 questions.
Yes.
First one, I want to know how to give such the shukr. I know that's the form of giving your thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it, some people say that it's only done after Maghrib. Is there any prescribed time, or we can just hear the good news and offer such the shukr?
Second question.
Second question is, I want to know the ruling on wearing socks and then praying, like for women, actually. I mean, I know it's mandatory for women to wear socks in the mosque and pray, but at home, if my clothing just reaches my feet and like my feet aren't covered in socks, can I still pray, or do I have to put on socks? Because I'm not usually wearing socks at home. So do I have to put on socks and then wear my say my salah?
Third question.
Third question is, I don't know if these hadiths are they authentic, but people quote them as, like as hadiths, like they say, like you shouldn't wash clothes on Fridays, or you shouldn't leave washed dishes out. You should cover them or put them back in the cabinets. I don't know. I want to know the authenticity on things like this. If people say they are quoted as Prophet Sunnah.
Okay.
And what is the best way of giving out food for alms? We should just give it out, or should we recite durood on it and then give it out for alms or charity?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you so much.
Okay, I will answer inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazak. Abdul Nasser from Libya says, now we heard that Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with her, had a son by the name of Muhsin. So is this authentic? I don't remember anything about this except vaguely that she had a son and they called him Muhsin, and he died in his infancy. And he wasn't grown up. If my memory is correct, inshallah. So, but he was not definitely reaching the age of puberty, and he died when he was a young child, if my memory is correct. Rahmatullah or Rahmatullah from Gambia, she says, whenever, okay, we have Fatima from Gambia again. Fatima? Listen to me from the phone and mute your TV, Fatima.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Fatima. What can I do for you?
Sir, I want to know the ruling about the nikah. I want to get married, so I have a contract. I travel out. So I want to know if they can go on with it, or they have to wait for me to go back.
Okay, so who is going to do it? Your father?
Yes, they are back at home, but I'm not in the country.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Any more questions?
Okay, inshallah.
Inshallah. So Fatim Rahmatullah from Gambia says that whenever she starts praying, she begins to think about loans she had given to people. And she says, what's the ruling on that? First of all, this is the way of shaitan. And the shaitan's main objective is to prevent you, to construct a barrier between you and salat and remembering Allah. As mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, that Allah said after mentioning the intoxicants, the gambling, the idols, etc. And He said that the objective of shaitan is to prevent you from as-salat and remembering Allah. So this is his objective. And whenever you think of praying, he reminds you of everything that you had forgotten before. So he reminds you of your debts that you forgot about. He reminds you of the food you forgot to put in the refrigerator, so that he would occupy you during your prayer and you lose concentration and khushu'. How to counterattack this? By acknowledging your sins, by showing your poverty, humility and submissiveness to Allah Azza wa Jal, by learning Allah's beautiful names and attributes, which gives you great love, respect, fear and hope in Allah Azza wa Jal. So when you pray, you almost block everything else except praying to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this needs training, this needs a lot of time. The scholars of the Salaf used to say, I struggled with prayer for 20 years until I reached the level I wanted, and then I enjoyed it afterwards for another 20 years. We have Wasila from Libya.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, Jazakallah khair. What can I do for you?
Sir, I did ask a question before, some months ago.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I couldn't reach your message, your feedback, you understand. So I have to repeat that same question, please.
Okay.
I don't know if it will be good for broadcasting or it may be for...
If you wish, you can email it to me.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Wasila, if you wish, you can email it to me if it's inappropriate. If it's a normal question, go ahead.
Okay, then I'll try it back, please. I have to call back.
Okay, no problem. Muhammad from Nigeria? Muhammad from Nigeria?
Hello, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mute your television and listen to me from the phone, please.
Yeah, Sheikh. Okay, I'm with you now.
Yes.
Sheikh, I began prayer for Zuhr prayer,
Okay.
and I did 4 rak'at, but I began contemplating as if I did 3, and I said salama, terminated the prayer. So I want to know if am I to restart the prayer, or should we just do badi after the termination of the prayer?
When you prayed 3 rak'ahs, you were thinking that you did 4?
Yeah, I prayed 4, but I began to contemplate it, either 3 or 4. So I terminated the prayer.
And you prayed again?
Yeah, I prayed again. So I said, my question is, should I restart the prayer or should I just do badi?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, akhi. We have Ahmed from Nigeria. Ahmed? Okay, I think we lost Ahmed. Amber from Saudi Arabia has 4 questions. The first question is how to perform sajdatul shukr, the prostration of gratitude. Now we know that we are supposed to prostrate only in prayer. However, there are 2 types of prostration that can be done outside of praying. The first one is the prostration of recitation. There are a number of ayahs in the Quran that is highly recommended when you reach it and recite it, that you perform prostration. This is a sunnah. The second type of prostration is the prostration of expressing your gratitude. So this happens if only you hear a piece of news that is not reoccurring, something that is joyful, something that calls for expressing your thanks and gratitude to Allah Azza wa Jal, that doesn't happen all the time. So for example, your loved one, your relative is in a hospital, he undergoes a surgery, it's a critical surgery, you're anticipating the results, the doctor comes and says, Alhamdulillah, the surgery was successful, and he is, Alhamdulillah, is recovering. Immediately you go and prostrate. One prostration. You say Allahu Akbar and you prostrate. That's it. When you raise your head, you don't say Allahu Akbar and you don't offer salam. And what do you say in it? You say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdihi. The normal dhikr that you say in sujood. Nothing else. Is there any specific time after Maghrib? No. Any time you hear the news, whether it is restricted times for prayer or an open time for prayer, regardless. But you don't do this over things that are reoccurring. So every end of the month when they give you your paycheck, you don't offer sujood al-shukr because this is reoccurring. When your wife cooks a good meal, you don't offer sujood al-shukr. Well, come to think of it, sometimes you have to because once in a lifetime she makes a good meal. No, seriously speaking, no, you don't do this because this is reoccurring. If you hear of the victory of Muslims over the disbelievers, of the enemies, and that they have captured their territories or defeated their armies, you offer sujood al-shukr. This is permissible, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Hafsa from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah. Yes, sister.
Yes, I have a question. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Yes. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
If a person wakes up before Fajr prayer,
okay,
and performs some maybe 4 rakats of Qiyam al-Layl, then Shafi'i and Witr, is it after the 4 rakats that a person will raise his hand, praise Allah, then salutation to the Prophet, and ask Allah for his needs, or after the Shafi'i and Witr prayer?
Okay. I will answer inshallah.
Then my second question. What is the ruling? What is the Islamic ruling on hire purchasing?
On what?
Hire purchase.
What is that?
Hire purchase.
I could not understand. Hire purchase?
Purchase. Mm-hmm.
To buy hire? What is hire?
Hire purchase. Suppose, example, if a person buy a car and gives it out to someone for rent.
Okay.
And the person is supposed to pay maybe after a year.
Okay.
Then he adds certain amount of money on it. Is it allowed in Islam?
So when I bought the car, did I buy it cash and it's now mine and I'm renting it to someone else?
Yes.
So what's the ruling on that person renting it for a year, and then what happens after the year?
Then he adds certain amount of money.
Okay. And then he takes the whole car?
Yes.
Okay, I will answer it inshallah.
So thank you, Sheikh.
You're welcome inshallah. Okay, Ali from Nigeria?
Yes, Ali from Nigeria.
Yes, Ali, what can I do for you?
Yes, I wanted to ask about the position of Mamu, that is the person praying behind Imam.
Okay. What about it?
Or is the person to recite Fatiha while the Imam is reciting aloud or not?
Okay. Any more questions?
Then my second question is, second question.
Yes.
What is the position of praying witr when the Fajr time has come in?
Okay. What else?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Akhi. I will answer, inshallah. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Yes, Muhammad.
Muhammad Shakir.
Yes, Akhi, what can I do for you?
Just I'm asking this question. What is the importance of wasila when we make a dua in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at what level the wasila is acceptable?
Okay.
Or it is not acceptable?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Sure.
Okay. Amber's second question, she says that, what is the ruling on wearing socks if I'm praying at home? The answer is, this is permissible, but it is not mandatory. What's mandatory for you, whether home or outside home, is to cover your foot. So if your feet are covered, whether you're outside or inside your home, and then you want to pray, then this does the job. But if your feet are exposed, then you have to wear socks to cover them, whether you're home or outside of home. Thirdly, she says that there are hadith that are being circulated regarding not to wash clothes on a Friday, and the obligation of putting and placing utensils and plates and the likes in the cupboards, and not to keep them exposed. All of these hadiths are baseless. They have no authenticity to them. You can wash your clothes any day of the week, any night, any time. As for the dishes, there is nothing that states this, but the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that when it's nighttime, if there's a plate or a utensil or something with food in it, then it has to be covered, or at least to place something on top of it to protect it, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Abu Bakr from Nigeria. Okay, we lost Abu Bakr. Her fourth question, she says, when giving food to the poor, do we have to recite the salutation to the Prophet ﷺ or some sort of Quran? No, all of this is baseless. You just give the food without reciting anything. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia. Muhammad? Okay, there's no Muhammad here. Fatma from Gambia, she says that she is not in the country, and there is a suitor, and her father accepted him, and they want to get married, but it would be some time before she returns back to her country. So is it permissible to have the marriage contract without her being present? The answer is yes. As long as the father is there, the person wanting to get married is there, 2 witnesses or more are present, and the contract is done in the Islamic format, this is permissible, insha'Allah. Do we have Muhammad online?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah?
Yes.
Yes, Akhi. What can I do for you?
I have got 2 questions, Sheikh.
Yes.
One is there near the Maghrib prayer.
Okay.
If I enter and Maghrib prayer is within 2 minutes or 3 minutes, shall I pray 2 rakats of the masjid, Tahiyatul Masjid?
Okay. Second question.
Wait for that one. And second question is there, because sometime I forgot the surahs during the praying of the Sunnah and Nafil. When I miss that one, shall I repeat the another one, or what shall I do?
Okay. I will answer your question, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The last caller before the break, Sarah. Sarah from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
Hello, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Mute your television and listen to me from the phone, please.
Okay. Sheikh, I have one question. Our dormitory is beside in the mosque, the masjid. So can I make supplication in between the adhan and the ikama inside in my room?
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay, no, only that one.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Zad's Group present to you 3 of the best versions for Sheikh Muhammad Saleh Al-Munajjid in English language. How he treated them. Interaction of the greatest leader, the Pilgrim's Provision. For more information, please visit one of those websites.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "The nobleman of Quraysh passed by Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and with him were Shu'aib, Bilal, Ammar and Khabbab, and other weak Muslims. They said to him, O Muhammad, are you pleased with these people as being your people? Are those the ones that out of all of us Allah has blessed? Are we going to follow those people? Send them away from you. Perhaps if you do, so we will follow you." So Allah sent His verse, which means, "And do not send away those who call upon their Lord morning and afternoon, seeking His countenance." Tafsir al-Tabari.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Muhammad from Nigeria asks a question that everybody asks. I prayed for rak'ah, but then all of a sudden I was lost. I don't know whether I have prayed 3 rak'ahs or 4 rak'ahs. Akhi, if this doubt came to you after you have concluded the prayer and finished it all, then ignore this doubt. Because the doubts that come after the ibadah is finished and gone over with, doubts, I'm talking about doubts, you don't pay any attention to them. Now if you're certain 100%, this is a different story. But you're telling me that you're doubtful. So if I prayed 4 rak'ahs, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, after 5-10 minutes, did I pray 3 or 4? I'm doubtful. Are you doubtful or you are sure? No, I'm doubtful. Ignore this doubt. But what happens if this doubt comes to me while I'm still praying? Then in this case, I have to analyze. Am I doubtful 50-50? Or I'm inclined to one of the 2 options? Yes, I did pray 3 rak'ahs, but I'm doubtful. Or, yes, I prayed 4 rak'ahs, but I'm doubtful. If you are 50-50, you don't have an idea whether it's 3 rak'ahs or 4 rak'ahs, in this case, you have to assume that you have prayed only 3 rak'ahs. You add a 4th, and then you offer sujood as-sahw before the salam, and you conclude your prayer. But if you're inclined to one of the 2, no, I most likely prayed 3 rak'ahs. I'm doubtful, but most likely. Or, no, I'm most likely, I'm in the 4th rak'ah. But I'm still doubtful, but most likely I am in the 4th. In this case, you continue prayer, you finish it, you offer salam, and then you after the salam you offer 2 sujood as-sahw, and then you offer another salam. Abu Bakr from Nigeria. Abu Bakr.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam tullah. Mute your television and listen to me from the phone, please. Yes, Abu Bakr. I think Abu Bakr muted his phone and is listening to me on the television at the moment. Abdul Alim from Kuwait.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Yeah, Abdul Alim. It's you again.
Yeah, it's me again. I wanted to talk about Saudi Arabia.
Okay, thank you very much. And try again, maybe another name. Okay, Hafsa from Nigeria says that if a person wakes up after Fajr, before Fajr, and offers a number of rak'ahs, and then he offers Shaf' and Witr, what is the most appropriate time to make dua? Raise your hands, praise Allah, offer salutation to the Prophet ﷺ. What is the best time? The whole of the night is an appropriate time and best of time. So whether you do it before Shaf' and Witr, whether you do it after Shaf' and Witr, the sky is the limit. There is no, whether you do it twice, 3 times, 10 times, you have no problem. The time is appropriate. But if you're referring to the dua of qunut, this has to be done only in the last rak'ah, which is witr. Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt wa afina fi man afayt, etc. But I think you're asking about raising the hands and praising Allah, offering salatu salam al Rasul alayhi salam, and then asking Allah for dua. You can do this before or after. It's up to you. Her second question is a bit lengthy one, and she is asking about what is known as high purchase, I think she called it, or Hayat purchase or whatever. The format is known. I have money, I'd like to invest my money, I buy a car worth 100,000, and then I lease it. Now the car is mine. There is no prior agreement between me and my friend Ali, for example. Let's say I bought a car, a Toyota Camry, 100,000 riyals down the drain. It's my car, it's in my name. He comes, we sign a contract that he leases it for a year for an X amount of money. Any problem? No problem at all. The problem is that if I agree with him in a different contract or in the same contract, that after he finishes the lease period of 1 year, then he has to pay me extra cash, the balance, which I decide, and then the car is his. I transfer the ownership to him. Here is a little bit of a trick, because now my intention is to sell, not to lease. His intention is to buy, not to lease. And this is what is being applied here, unfortunately, in most Islamic banks, that they say, or they call it Islamic lease to own. They pretend that it's a leasing contract, while actually they're trying to fool themselves and others. They want actually to buy. They're not leasing. They're not like Avis or Hertz or any other rental car. They want to sell. That's why they have certain frames and schedules for payment, that if you default after 4 or 5 months, they extort money from you, and they charge money from you much, much more than what we would have actually given on normal rent. So basically speaking, Sister Hafsa, if you buy the car and you rent it to people, there's no problem in that. Now, if you tell them as an incentive, I will give you the car for free if you finish 3 years of renting, maybe, but this is a promise that is not obliging you to fulfill. Therefore, it's a little bit ambiguous, and I would certainly have doubts whether this is permissible or not. However, you want to make it permissible, tell them I'll sell you the car, and you have to pay me the amount within 2 or 3 years. If you default in the middle, the car is still in my name, I will possess the car, repossess it, sell it outside, and whatever cash I get, I will take my balance and I'll give you the rest. If this is the case, then this is inshallah permissible, and it's a win-win scenario. Zahra from the Emirates, and I apologize for the delay.
It's all right, no problem.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, Jazakallah khair.
I've got one question.
Yes.
While praying sometimes, I make a mistake in my salah. So is this, I even forget to make sujood this one.
Sujood as-sahw.
Yeah, after taslim. So is it okay to make after salah, the complete salah, to make 2 positions?
When do you remember, yani, after hours?
After making taslim, I remember that I have to make this one mistaken sujood.
Yeah. What did you do? Okay? What was the mistake?
Suppose if I miss 1 rakah, or suppose I miss 1 sujood.
Okay.
In this case, can I make it after the taslim, or should we make before taslim itself?
I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay, thank you. Jazakumullah.
Wajazaki. Ali from Nigeria says, what is the place of, not of the place, he's asking about if I am praying behind an imam, and it's a loud prayer, Maghrib, Isha or Fajr, do I have to recite the Fatiha? It's an issue of dispute. Some scholars say it is pillar upon you as a follower to recite the Fatiha. Some say it is prohibited for you to recite the Fatiha and it's not obligatory. And some took the middle way, and this is the madhab of Imam Malik, may Allah have mercy on him, and the choice of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, is that in loud rak'ah, such as the first 2 rak'ahs of Maghrib, Isha, and the 2 rak'ahs of Fajr, as long as the Imam had recited the Fatiha, then this is not an obligation upon you. Whether you come early, whether you come late, khalas, you're exempted. If you want to recite it, it is recommended, but it is not mandatory. In silent rak'ahs, and in silent prayers, it is a pillar upon you, and you must recite the Fatiha, and Allah knows best. Ramziya from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu wa barakatuh.
I'm calling from Riyadh.
Yes.
I have a question. Can we recite more than 3 times in sujud and ruku, what we used to recite in prayers?
Okay.
Will it be considered as an innovation?
So asking about tasbih, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, more than 3 times.
That one only. Yes, Sheikh.
Okay. I will answer you, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we have Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, Ali from Nigeria. He says, if the adhan of Fajr is called and I did not offer my witr, what can I do? You can't do anything. The most authentic opinion is that the time of witr is over the minute the mu'adhin says Allahu Akbar for Fajr. So if you missed your 1 rak'ah witr after sunrise and just before the adhan of Dhuhr, this is the time for making up for your witr. So instead of praying 1 rak'ah, you pray 2 rak'ahs. If you missed 3 rak'ahs, you pray 4 rak'ah. If you missed your 11 rak'ah of night prayer, you make them up into 12 rak'ahs, 2 plus 2, without praying odd numbers, only even numbers. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia is asking about al-wasila. And usually, people, when they ask about al-wasila, they are from the subcontinent, usually. And they're referring to asking Allah Azza wa Jal through the Prophet ﷺ, as he is our wasila, as he is our way for intercession. And unfortunately, this concept it did not evolve. It caused them to go astray in their relationship with the Prophet ﷺ, in the sense that they started calling the Prophet ﷺ to give us intercession or to intercede for us. They started asking Allah through the Prophet. So they swear, "Oh Allah, I swear upon you, through the right of our Prophet ﷺ upon you." And this is an innovation. No one has rights over Allah Azza wa Jal, not even the Prophet ﷺ. So you cannot swear through him. So this concept of wasila is an innovated concept. The Islamic legitimate wasila that is based over or through or from the Quran, the Sunnah, is divided into 3 types, as the scholars say it. The first one is to ask Allah through his beautiful names and attributes. "Oh Allah, I ask you because you are the wealthy, the rich, the most powerful, grant me money, pay off my debts. Oh Allah, I ask you because you are the most forgiving, the most merciful, forgive my sins, have mercy on my father," etc. The second type is the type where you ask Allah through your good deeds, as in the hadith, well-known hadith, where 3 were sheltering in a cave and a big rock came and blocked their exit way. So they started asking Allah through their good deeds. One of them wanted to fornicate with his cousin, and then he refrained from that and feared Allah. So Allah opened the gate a little bit, but not enough for them to come through. The third one asked Allah because of his kindness and being dutiful to his parents and not feeding his children before his parents. Allah Azza wa Jal opened it a little bit. The third one asked Allah by his giving the money and the fare that developed and grew so much to a laborer who worked for peanuts. But he did not take his wage, he did not take his money, and he came a few years later, and the man invested that little amount and became herds of cows and camels and sheep, and he gave it to that, and then Allah. So you ask Allah by your good deeds. So you say, "Oh Allah, I ask you because I pray Fajr on time every single day for your sake. Oh Allah, I ask you to do this and that. Oh Allah, I ask you because I love our Prophet ﷺ and I follow his sunnah, that you make my child pass the exams," etc. So this is the second type. The third and final type is to ask Allah through the wasila, through the way of the supplication and dua and invocation of righteous, living people. So I have a problem, I go to a sheikh, an imam, a scholar, sheikh, make dua for me that my son is cured, he has an illness and he's hospitalized, and the sheikh says, oh Allah Azza wa Jal, cure his son, this is permissible. Only to be a living and to be righteous. Hamza from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, there's one question that I wanted to ask now.
Yes, sir.
I'm businessman.
You're what?
I'm businessman, Sheikh.
Yeah,
hello?
Yeah,
Are you hearing me? So, is this thing that happened to us this just recent? The company that I'm buying goods, they tell me on last 3 Monday that they asked 50% of the price of the goods.
So you're buying something from a company and they're selling it to you cash?
I'm paying them cash.
Okay. Then what?
I'm paying cash.
Okay. So what's the question?
And then before they tell me they add 50%, they tell me they reduce 50% of the goods. I've already bought goods with them.
Okay. So they reduce the price.
They reduce the price.
And they give you back the money.
No, they didn't give me back the money. I have already bought goods with them. And then the goods is with me.
Okay, what happened to the money?
So after I do that, next coming Monday, they have increasing money also, 50% also. So those goods that I buy from them before, am I selling with that price that they give me, or I will separate my goods between the first one that I buy and then the second one that I buy?
Okay, I think I understood your question, but I'll try to answer it, inshallah.
Okay, sir.
We have Muhammad from Saudi Arabia saying, if I enter the masjid before the iqamah, like 1 or 2 minutes, should I pray the 2 rak'ah of Tahiyyat al-Masjid? The 2 rak'ah that you pray is in order for you to sit down. So if you know that the iqamah is within like seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and you're not able to finish your 2 rak'ahs, you don't have to. You just remain standing up. But if you feel and you're more inclined that, inshallah, if I pray 2 quick rak'ahs, then I'll be able to do this, then yes, go ahead with that, and no problem. His second question, that he forgets to recite a second surah after the Fatiha in Nafil prayer. Akhi, reciting the second surah after the Fatiha, whether in Fard prayer or in Sunnah prayer, it is not mandatory. It is a recommended thing to do. It's a Sunnah. So if you recited only the Fatiha in Dhuhr prayer, in all 4 rak'ahs and nothing else, your prayer is valid. You have abandoned a Sunnah, your reward is lesser, but your prayer is correct without any problem, inshaAllah. Sarah from Saudi Arabia, she says, can I make dua between adhan and iqamah when I'm at my room? Sarah, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is that the dua, the supplication, between adhan and iqamah is answered. Meaning that this is a recommended time for you to make dua. Now the iqamah is not referring to the iqamah in the masjid, except for those who are praying in the masjid. But if a woman is in her home, the adhan is at, let's say, 7 o'clock, and she prays at 7:30, while in the masjid they pray at 7:10. Her time for accepting the dua is between 7 and 7:30 when she prays. So the adhan and iqamah is limited to those praying in the masjid. Those who are praying outside of the masjid, it is from the time when the prayer is due until they establish their own prayer. So you can do that without any problem, inshallah. Aisha from Nigeria. Okay, I'm afraid we lost Aisha. Zuhair from the Emirates, she says that she forgot to perform sujood al-sahu, or prostration of forgetfulness before the salam. And I deliberately asked her what was the thing that she had forgotten. And she said, one sujood, maybe one rak'ah. Now this is a pillar, ya Zuhair. I think I've got your name correct. Zuhair, this is a pillar. This cannot be compensated by sujood al-sahu. You have to pray it. Dhuhr prayer has 4 rak'ahs with 8 sajdas. If you happen to pray 4 rak'ahs with 7 sajdas, your prayer is invalid. So what to do? You have to perform the 8th sajda. How to do that? This is a long process. But if you managed to fulfill the missing pillar, and you did that, alhamdulillah, in this case, you may prostrate for forgetfulness after the salam if you forgot to do it before the salam. And generally speaking, when you forget a pillar, you have to perform it after the salam. This is the norm. Whenever you forget a sujda or a rak'ah, the sujood for it is always after the salam, and Allah knows best. Halima from Saudi.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The first, what is the ruling on telling lies, especially when they are said by authorities? And my second question is,
when the lies is what?
Ruling?
What is?
What is the ruling on telling lies, especially when they are said by authorities?
Okay.
And my second question is, what is the Islamic ruling if a so-called Muslim country helps opposition on other countries to take arms and rebel against its leaders? Saudis, they are...
Okay, I got your questions.
Right
I got your
now
questions, Halima.
in Syria.
Okay. So, Ramziya from Saudi Arabia, she says, what is the ruling on offering tasbih, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, in sujood more than 3 times? And Subhana Rabbi al-Azim more than 3 times. Is it a bid'ah? Not at all. The Prophet did not limit, alayhi salatu wasalam, a specific number. He said, when you are in ruku', عظم الرب. Say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. And when Sabbih Isma Rabbika al-A'la was revealed, the Prophet said, make this in your sujood. So he did not specify a number. If you do it 10 times, if you do it 20 times, if you do it 21 times, the sky is the limit without any problem, inshallah. Ali from Dubai.
Ya Sheikh.
Yes, Ali.
Yes, I have a question. It's regarding the khutbah during Jumat prayer.
Okay.
Yes, when the Imam starts to do the khutbah, there's a period that he stops and sits down.
Okay.
I am a Nigerian, and what I notice is between that period, in the gathering, everyone raises their hands and pray at that moment. And when the Imam stands up, we do the Al-Fatiha with our hands. I want to know, is that mandatory or is it sunnah?
Any more questions?
No, that is okay.
I will answer you, inshallah. Hamza from Nigeria seems to have a strange scenario. He orders merchandise, I think it's rice or something else. He pays the money, and they tell him that according to what we have sold you, it's half the price. And the following week, he pays money, and they tell him that, well, the prices have gone up, you have to pay us more. First of all, this kind of transaction is not permissible. Among the conditions of halal transactions, the 7 conditions of transactions, is that the price is known. Buying something with such ambiguity is not permissible. But let's put this aside. So from now on, this is unacceptable. You bought for 1,000, this is what you pay, and this is what you receive, the weight or the amount of items. Nothing can be increased or decreased. Okay, they want to give you a discount, no problem. But they say that we would add money to that and you have to pay. This is not permissible. Secondly, what you sell is not related to the price you bought it in. So if I bought it for 1,000 and they told me we give you 50% discount, am I obliged to reduce my prices? No. I set the prices and I take whatever percentage I want because I'm not related to them. I'm not their agent. I'm not selling on their behalf. I'm buying my own merchandise and I sell it with whatever price I need. Halima from Saudi Arabia, she says, what's the ruling of lying from the authorities? Now, lying is lying. But when it comes from the authority or from the king or from the president, it's even worse. The Prophet said, ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا يَزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. That three, that Allah would not look at them, would not purify them, would not have mercy on them, and will punish them severely on the Day of Judgment. The first one is a lying king. Not the Lion King of Disney. A lying meaning a person, a king that lies, because there's no reason for him to lie. So definitely whenever you go up, the more you go up, the greater and the more severe sin you're committing when lying. And then she asks a question about opposition and about Saudi Arabia, about that. These are regular calls that come from so-called Muslims who have a lot of hatred against Saudi Arabia. And if you analyze their hatred, you find that they hate Saudi Arabia because it's an Islamic country, because it claims that it has Islamic Sharia applied in their courts, as the only country that does this, alhamdulillah. They hate Saudi Arabia because it has Mecca and Medina, and all the pilgrims and all the Muslims look up to it. So they try to discredit it in any way they can. And they talk as if they are living in utopia. And they speak about Saudi Arabia as if it is the most corrupt country in the world. Not knowing that it is one of the only countries in the world where Muslims can practice Islam without any fear, alhamdulillah. We have places for tahfidh al-Quran for our children. We go to the masjids without any problem. We have masjids in every single corner where you go. Women live freely and can commute and can go wherever they want without anyone raping them or harassing them or ordering them to unveil their faces. We have zakat being distributed. We have the salah being observed and called for. We have everything that people envy us. So these imbeciles usually that call and say that opposition, look what your opposition did for you. Now, what happened in Egypt? What happened in Yemen? What happened in Tunisia? What happened in Syria? What is happening in Iraq? Now, compare this to 5 years ago. They would pay their lives just to get back to 5 years ago where they were. These tyrants, they say, the kafir, the disbeliever tyrants, they were ruling their country. They were giving them a shelter. They were giving them food. They were giving education. They had health care. They used to travel freely without any problem. Look at them now. In their millions, they're misplaced. They're refugees. They're beggars, begging people for food. Is this jihad? Is this what you call freedom? This is not freedom. This is actual abuse of Islamic teachings. And Islam does not tell you this. Allah tells us in the Quran, if you are met by 10, you have to flee and leave. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla reduced it and said that if you meet double your size, then you're not obliged to fight. Facing the army of the state and killing and misplacing and making the total population of your country as refugees, begging people for mercy and dying in overseas and trying to get a decent life. Is this Islam? These imbeciles have no knowledge of Islam. They don't know the Quran. They don't speak even Arabic. They don't have knowledge in the basics of jurisprudence. Even if they answer the call of nature, wallahi, they don't know how to do that either. So, Halima and the likes of them, get a life. For Allah's sake, get a life. Leave people and let them live and practice and worship Allah as they wish. Ali from Dubai's question, raising the hands between the two khutbah and asking Allah Azza wa Jal, this is not part of the sunnah and it's an innovation. What to do? Nothing. There is nothing prescribed. So in yourself, if you ask Allah for forgiveness, if you ask Allah for dua, no problem. But raising the hands, or like some people stand up and pray 2 rak'ahs, all of this is an innovation, and Allah knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the altar.